This is Wayne's World with the St. George Jeepers. This is mostly just the parts of the trail that are interesting or technical or whatever, but I'm going to do a longer one just so I can remember the whole trail and where I'm supposed to turn and what the rocks are supposed to look like, so I can kind of, at least if I'm in there trying to do Wayne's World, I can hopefully remember it pretty good. So there's 16 vehicles with us. So up ahead they're probably just waiting for someone to get over an obstacle. See, this is kind of like a V-notch, slightly off camber. Show you your flex. It really wasn't too bad, except for, one thing I noticed is that because the sand was a little damp, it felt like it was, the rocks were slicker than previous times I've been there when it was drier out. And you'll see in spots, there's definitely water up here, so it's like it's rained and then the water has stayed. It's not evaporated because it isn't getting ungodly hot. I mean, I think today it was probably 60 something during the day, maybe like 58 to 61 or 2, I can't remember. I know back in Henderson when I got home it was 72, but I mean, it was a nice day, but that's not enough to get rid of water, that's for sure. This is the beginning of the trail. And there's a bunch of sand between here and the next obstacle. It's always kind of funny when you see the obstacles on the GoPro compared to real life. It's like the scale of these is so much bigger than what they appear. And again, I'm on 37s, KM3s. They are at 11 psi. I have a 3.5 inch metal cloak lift with skid plates. And Project Dallas is a Rubicon, so she has electronic lockers and electronic sway bar disconnects. So I didn't show everybody going up, but there was quite a few Jeeps that were able to make it up this side. But I think if you got up next to it, you'd see just how steep, and the brake angle is very important here. So if you were a two-door Jeep on 40s, this is no big deal. But if you're on 40s and you're in a four-door Jeep, you hit the middle of your Jeep and you're just stuck. And that's what's happening to him. And he gave it a few good efforts, but it just wasn't going to happen. Not without breaking something, or the risk of potentially breaking something. And so all the Jeeps with 35s and up to 40 were pretty much, and four doors were going to left, but you can see it just wasn't going to happen going that way. But
good job.
And it's kind of funny. It's like there was, Jeeps with 35s with us, but pretty much I was one of the smaller Jeeps, which is not normal for me in a group. It's like there was a lot of 40s running today. I don't know what the name of this is, but it's a pretty steep climb, and like I said, with the sand, and I think some of it has to do with how cold the rocks are from overnight and whether they've warmed up from the sun too. But you can see it's a little slick. And the key to this is you want to stick kind of like towards the rock side. And then as you're going up, you're going to make a slight turn to the driver's side. You can see. And then that'll line you up for going down. If you turn too much, you have the potential to roll, and if you just were to go straight, you could roll. But at the top, it's kind of a blind corner for you. And that's part of why they have the spotters up there. And I'd never done this obstacle before. I have not done Wayne's World before this either. See, she's watching the passenger tire to see where I am, and so to know when I should turn and then come down. And that's the thing with the GoPro. It's like, even though it's where it is, you really don't see. Even though you see a ton, you don't really see like that drop as you turn the corner. You don't get to see the lip. All that stuff's kind of hidden from the GoPro from when I'm making the turn. And we drop down here, and we're going to go up the hill, turn around, and get lined up going the other way.
Big pile.
This is our next series of obstacles. You can't really see it all right here. It's like you kind of go up and down, and there now you can see in the background, you see how the Jeep's pointing uphill. And then the one where the black Jeep is right now, that one's got a steeper little thing. For whatever reason. Pretty sure that's the obstacle, but for whatever reason I kept sticking closer to the driver's side, and I needed for my Jeep, my tires, I needed to get over on the passenger side for that line. And that's the thing, you see how his back end slid over to the driver's side? There's like a little hole there, but he was able to just bump it up. He's got bigger tires than me. But you'll see it's like that little hole kept sliding me over. And then of course I'm locked, and it's like you can't turn. Lucky for me, there's only one guy behind me. The guy running the back of the tail trail lead. Just, even though it's like I never quite got over far enough, and I'm like, I changed my angle and I moved the front end over just a little bit, but it didn't change the back end. So I'm like, okay, let's give up here. I'm gonna be like, what the heck? But I don't want to break an axle, so I'm not gonna just sit there and spin. But pretty much it's like I'm on you can see how far over I've gotten. It's just like, no, that's not right. So I gotta get the back end moved over a little bit. Here I'm like deciding, it's like, nope, I need to back up even more. All right, now I can get over. And you'll see, I'll just go right up. It's like it went up so easy, it's just like, what the heck? Now the problem with some of this now, so like, yep, I got a guy behind me and I can see him, and I try hard to like make sure I keep him always within sight, but like the people in front of me, they just would take off. And so sometimes it's like, it'd been nice to be able to watch, you know, if I hadn't struggled on that a little bit, it would have been nice to be able to watch them do some of this and see where there's a couple spots where the turns are, it's just like, ooh, okay, I guess it's over here. And because a lot of this is all open riding area, it's like people make tracks all sorts of places, you know. So, not in this spot, obviously, but in some of these other areas, it's kind of hard sometimes to tell where people go. And we even had a thing near the end where the guy in the green Jeep, all of a sudden he lost sight of whoever was in front, and he had no idea where to go, and there was tracks going every which way. He's like, hey, I'm not sure which way to turn, and I don't see anybody. And then someone had to go back up and get him. And so we started with 16 Jeeps, or vehicles, not Jeeps. It wasn't all Jeeps, mostly Jeeps. But there was one Explorer, or Bronco, I mean. I call it Explorer. But like here, like, so like sometimes people just take lines, but I didn't see where everybody else went. And this was like the most obvious line, so that's what I did. But I think most of the people went to the right because that's what the guy behind me did. And as I looked, it doesn't look difficult at all. It just, I think, you know, if you're trying to follow the line everybody's doing, but because I didn't see everybody do it, I wasn't sure if he was just, you know, blazing his own trail or something. Because he did that. He'll do that later, you'll see. We're doing this, I don't know what the name, if there's a name for it even, but there's one where you got to make a hard left turn after you get up to the top. And instead of him doing that, he just went straight. And that's Ernie. And he has his mom with him. And so Ernie's kind of an older guy, and his mom is really old, but she was out walking around at lunch and stuff, and she's doing pretty good and looked like she was having a good time. So that's pretty nice that, you know, he was able to share this with his mom. So later when we come back through here, you'll see off to the left there, we'll come back over that. But here, this is what I was talking about. You go up and you're supposed to make a hard left, like where the black and white Jeep is. Or the black door Jeep. And Ernie's in front of me. But one thing you can't hardly tell is, number one, that's a pretty good drop. You can see, and it's taller than a Jeep right where they are. But it gets narrow right at that corner. And so when you're trying to make this corner, you also have to worry about slipping into that thing, with your back tires. So that's what Ernie's doing here, is he's just making sure he gets lined up. And it looked like he was going to go to the left like everybody else, but then he ended up just going straight. But here I actually think I will go even a little bit farther passenger so I can set this corner up so it won't be so nerve-wracking for me. See, I'm kind of like anxiety. Got my head out the window, seeing how close I am to that corner because I was worried about it. But you know, once I was pretty sure I was past, it was like okay. And then in here, so Ernie went straight, and then but this is where the path is, and then you cut over. But right here, it's like it felt like my wheels were binding, and part of that I think is because I'm leaned over so hard on the driver's side. Now GoPro doesn't really show that very well, so I backed up just so I could unbind my my wheels, because you don't want to force your steering to do anything unless you feel like breaking a yoke on the trail, having to call Matt's Off-Road for an expensive recovery. And again, here I am going, I did not get to watch anybody do this stuff. Damn it. But when I was in the back, I did see that Ernie went straight. See, there's someone over there, so I don't know if he cut through or what that guy did. This is kind of a little tricky spot here. You have to make a hard left again. But you'll see it's like there's kind of a tippy spot up there too. So after you navigate this ledge, you gotta make that left. And the thing is about this spot, you have to be careful how, so like, because of the off camber up ahead, you want to be on the driver's side, but you can't really be too close on the driver's side. And the reason for that is when your vehicle starts to tip a little bit, it's gonna throw you into those rocks. Watch a couple videos where people broke taillights and stuff.
Perfect.
So you see how far over he's leaning? Look at that little rock that's right there, right at the edge. It looks like a little nose with the face there. I'm gonna put my rear driver's fender right into that, touch it, because I got too far over. Here I am. I'm making sure I'm over so I can't tip. But the problem with that, you can see I'm way over. So now that's very comfy for me. But what it did is, when I started to tip, it brought the front of that rear fender down right on top of that nose. It's just a little, it's not a dent or anything, it just took the paint off. But Why? Alright, well, I can't remember for sure, but I think this is called Blind Faith. Now, that little slot to the left, I went through that last time I was here, the day I did the shoot, on the way to the shoot. It's like you can see some black marks on here, but there's not a ton. But I wouldn't have known. But basically, the reason why this is called Blind Faith is because you have to trust your spotter. And there's no spotter up there, but basically, you have to trust that you're going to be okay because you can't see. And if you're close enough to the vehicle in front of you, you can see the vehicle a little bit with their flags and stuff. But basically, from inside the cab, you don't see anything right here. And then you come over. Now, the key is you got to stay close to that rock, because if you go over, it really puts you off camber a little bit. And then you come down a rock, which also there, you see the bump, it drops you a little bit off camber towards the slot, which would be a terrible place to roll. So it's just a little unnerving, but once you start down, you can see the trail well. But that's why I think they call it Blind Faith, because you're supposed to have blind faith in the spotter is going to get you in the right way. But basically, we were told just, stay tight to that rock. Don't get too far away from that rock at the top. And then once your rear wheels are at the end of that rock, the front end will be coming down off that one edge, and then you'll be able to see where the track is. So then after this, we had lunch, hung out for a little bit. They have a memorial to the war veterans. I walked up there. Took plenty of pictures. And then we start back down. Now we're after lunch, we're actually heading back through the area where we just came through. So where I bonked my fender, we're going to be squeezing through there. And I do much better. But the interesting thing is a couple of these drops, it's like we were all just scraping the rear bumper. And I know, like the Bronco, I saw, like, the camera didn't capture it, but I saw a big puff of smoke when he got his bumper on the ledge a couple times. But I know I haven't looked at it yet, but nothing was bad. But I could hear it. And listen to this video too. It's kind of funny. It's like sometimes you can hear other people's scrapes, and it's like, is that me or is someone else? There's the Bronco going. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like on my TV. But this is kind of tricky because it's like, so that rock right in front, that's where I touched my fender. So you want to like kind of aim towards it in its last second turn. And coming down was a lot easier than going up, I think. Gravity helps get you. Here we're coming up, and then remember that one little slot I said that we'd be coming back through that? That's this. So off to the left is where that one turn is that I took. This is kind of a tricky thing. It's like it ended up being a lot narrower than I thought, and it wasn't. It's not a straight. It's not like it's a straight shot, but it's at slight angle, and so when you're going through there, it's like it fits just a little funny. This is the spot I was thinking of, not that last spot. Ignore everything they say. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You can see it's got like the tall walls, and it looks like it's got plenty of room in there, but I just know that like when I was coming down, it's like it felt like I was kind of like close on two sides because like the straight I wanted to be was like actually a little crooked. So it's like you can see it's like, oh, I'm off on one side a little bit, but I couldn't really adjust a ton because of the other side. It's just when you got to go through slow and be careful. Nothing terrible. This is an interesting section here. It's like kind of a tight little twisty thing, and you wouldn't, I wouldn't think you'd even think this was a trail if you weren't like with people, because you see how you've got like tire tracks going every which way here. But kind of stick over to the side, kind of like that one obstacle, and you kind of go up and then go down. So like right here, it's like you can't really even see what's below you. You're just like, what am I doing? There's some water. But in the cab, you can't hardly see any of this. Now I cheat and have a front camera, so I have that on almost all the time. So I do get a lot better view than if I didn't. But if I wasn't using my camera, I'd be having to get out of the Jeep constantly. You see, I'm just taking my time going through there, make sure I don't bump nothing. And this whole thing with, running with a Jeep group, it's a lot of hurry up and wait, So like, they might drive really fast for a little bit. As soon as we get an obstacle, we're all bunched up sitting there for a little bit. But overall, I'd say this was a great group just to run with for the day. It's like, it wasn't too fast, it wasn't too slow. It was perfect. It was just right. It was the Goldilocks Jeep Club. Look at the lake in the background. I just love that mountain. I'm not sure what that's called. It's snow covered, and then it's got the dark green band, and then you got the red band, and kind of a light band in there, and that mountain is just beautiful. They just had the winter jamboree, and so those white marks on the rock there, they're lines to kind of help keep people in the right direction of where the trail is. And so that was one thing that was nice about running this, is that there was some arrows that you could see on the rocks to kind of have you pointed in the right direction, which way to be going. So this is like, I think, one of the last obstacles I'll show you here. You got to make a left-hand turn here, and then you can see it drops down, and so he didn't make his turn quite sharp enough to get in there and to line up so he wouldn't roll. But and that's the thing, he doesn't have a front camera, so he doesn't have extra help that way. Alright, here's a ledge here that's little, kind of a big ledge, but it's got like a little undercut to it. I think it took me 2 tries on this thing. Bump. Jeep's like, nope. Bump and boom, got over it. So this is an interesting thing. So like if you watch videos of Wayne's World, you'll see that you turn down into this, and it's a soft sand little canyon. It's not, the sand isn't all that soft right now because I think it's damp, but it didn't feel that soft. But I've seen where, like, you know, people are coming through here and it's like it was, but normally they would make a right and then go right by that tree. But I guess with a winter jamboree, the tree got knocked over probably from all the Jeeps that were pushing up against it, trying to get in between the tree and the wall. Because I know a lot of them were like kind of half climbing that tree and then sliding off to get the front end to move over. So it looks like that tree got lost to the jamboree. Just too bad. Now we're just on our way running down the dunes to go back air up and be done. The guy in that blue Jeep is the one that ran the tail the whole day, so he spent most of the day behind me. But that was nice. I always had someone back there make sure if I needed a spot or was in trouble or something, he was back there to help. Same reason why I kept an eye on him. Made sure he was behind me. Through the tunnel to air up. There we go. Thanks for watching.